The shocking truth: how a poor boy helped a billionaire's daughter rewrite her life at midnight. In a world where fortunes glitter like diamonds in dark alleys, a tale lurks behind the closed doors of privilege and desperation. Picture this: at the very stroke of midnight, with only a ghostly fog creeping through the streets, a boy on the edge of poverty found his fate entwined with the opulent life of a billionaire's daughter. It sounds like a dream, right? But trust me, it's all about to break open like a hidden treasure chest, revealing secrets that make your heart race. The boy, his name barely murmured in the whispers of the wealthy, had eyes that reflected hope and hardship, two worlds colliding in a fragile gaze. He lived in a crumbling shack on the outskirts of the city, its thin walls barely shielding him from the world's disdain. And every night, as the city lit up in neon promises, he stared into the depths of darkness, waiting for a spark of change to ignite his life. But what he didn't expect was that fate would hand him an opportunity wrapped in layers of mystery. Now, here's the twist: at the fancy gala for the elite, the billionaire's daughter, a stunning beauty trapped in a gilded cage, slipped away from her crowded life. Her laughter echoed emptily as she danced alone under the stars, unaware of the boy's existence. That was until she discovered a hidden doorway in the garden, painted with shadows, leading into the unknown. With shaky hands, she pushed the door open, and they met for a moment. Time stopped. You could almost feel the gravity of their worlds colliding. The tension crackled in the air like electricity. "Who are you?" she gasped, a mixture of fear and curiosity flickering in her eyes. The boy, caught between awe and anxiety, managed to stutter out his name, an unremarkable name for a life-changing connection. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But just as the clock chimed once more, the atmosphere shifted. Even from the shadows, something was stirring, a presence watching them, plotting their next move. Whispers carried on the chilling breeze, like secrets just begging to be uncovered. The boy and the girl stood at a crossroads, curiosity blazed within them, but danger lurked at every turn. What would happen next? As the midnight air thickened with unresolved questions, they realized they weren't just rewriting their lives, they were about to alter the course of their destinies forever. But who was watching them? And what consequences awaited them beyond that hidden door? With the stakes rising higher, their secrets began to unravel, pulling them down a path that would change everything. The boy's heart raced, his breath quickening as he stared into the girl's eyes, that spark of connection igniting an undeniable pull between them. I'm just a nobody," he stammered, feeling the weight of their worlds pressing down on him. But in her gaze, he glimpsed something he hadn't felt before: possibility. "Everyone say somebody," she replied softly, stepping closer, the night air thickening with whatever magic was brewing. Just as the tension escalated, a rustling sound stole their focus. It came from the shadows. A figure hovered in the doorway, dark and imposing, cloaked by the night itself. "Who's there?" the girl called out, her voice quivering but firm. The boy felt a tightness in his chest, fear gripping his throat. He turned to face the figure, his instincts screaming at him to retreat. "Do you really think you can escape your reality?" a low voice hissed, slicing through the silence. The figure stepped into the light, an older man, his face sharp and lined, eyes narrowed with malice. He wasn't just a spectator, he was part of a world that had tried to bury them both. "Sir, we were just," the girl started, but the man cut her off with a wave of his hand. "Enough! You think this boy can offer you freedom? You don't belong in this part of the garden, nor this part of the city." His words dripped with contempt, like poison meant to snuff out the flickering flame of hope. The boy stood frozen, humanity fleeting from the scene. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he managed, every word feeling like a leap into an abyss. "Trouble? You don't even know what trouble is, boy," the man crooned, a smirk curling his lips. "She is part of a world you can only dream of, one that could crush you without a second thought." The girl's eyes flashed, defiance shining brighter than the stars above. Don't you dare talk to him like that, she snapped, stepping slightly in front of the boy. A surge of courage welled inside him. The man chuckled, flicking his gaze from her to the boy. Cute, really. But you both don't know what you're getting into. Leave now while you can. With that, he turned, vanishing back into the darkness, leaving them rattled and alone. The girl swallowed hard, glancing back at the boy. We can't let him intimidate us, she insisted, though her voice trembled. He can't decide our fates. Right, the boy replied, a surge of bravery coursing through him, as if ignited by her spirit. But he is connected to my life in ways I can't even imagine. He is one of them, the elite. The girl nodded, her face pale as she absorbed his words. I don't want this to end. Not yet. We just met, and there is so much more to discover. As midnight deepened, uncertainty loomed like an unseen shadow. The air crackled with tension, charged with the electricity of their uncharted bond. Yet fear and doubt swirled around them like a thick fog, threatening to engulf their fragile hope. Do you trust me? The girl finally asked, taking a breath and meeting his piercing gaze. More than anything, he admitted, feeling a warmth spread inside him, a flicker of bravery battling against societal bondage. But at that moment, a distant siren wailed in the city, tearing through the stillness like a knife. The reality of their worlds crashed back into focus, and the boy's heart dropped. What if that was the signal? What if the man was right, he murmured, panic rising. The girl looked at him, determination setting her jaw. We have to find out what happens next. Together. Just as they began to move toward the door, a flash of light dazzled from within the garish gala. The crowd's laughter turned into gasps, then screams. Something was about to unfold, and they stood on the precipice. What secret were the glitzy walls hiding? And could it expose them before they had time to catch their breath? The thrill of danger beckoned them forward, but what lay beyond the door was a mystery waiting to engulf them. The door swung open with a reluctant creak, unveiling a chaos that pierced the night as calm like glass shattering. Inside, the gala had transformed from a celebration to a frenzy. Guests, draped in shimmering gowns and tailored suits, rushed toward the exits, faces drained of color, panic pulsing through the air like an electric charge. What happened? The boy stammered, peering into the scene of chaos. I don't know, but we need to see. The girl breathed, gripping his arm as she led him inside, pulling him past the glimmering chandeliers swaying overhead, their lights flickering uncertainly as if afraid of the present chaos. The hall was a stark contrast. It had only moments ago been alive with laughter, a place of dreams and money. Now it felt like a trap, tension coiling thickly in the air. The boy's instincts screamed at him to pull away, but curiosity and the girl's grip pulled him deeper into the maw of uncertainty. As they moved through the crowd, they caught snippets of frantic conversations. Did you see the man? He was right there. Someone's hurt. Fear clawed at the boy's gut. Who was that man? He whispered, half expecting the shadowy figure to return, looming larger than life. Before she could reply, the crowd surged, and they stumbled into a side room where light streamed in harshly from a half-open doorway. Inside, two men hunched over a body sprawled on the polished floor, panic evident on their faces. The boy's breath caught in his throat as he recognized the figure. It was the man from the garden. Call for help. One of the men shouted, panic tinging his voice, fleeing from what should have been a simple gathering. The girl squeezed his hand tighter. What do we do? We can't just stand here, he replied, the urge to flee battling against the pull of his intrigue. What if this was their chance to uncover more about the worlds threatening to engulf them? Before he could think any further, a sharp voice cut through the tension. Is there anyone here who can assist? A woman, her demeanor exuding authority, entered the room, scanning the scene with piercing eyes. The boy and girl instinctively stepped back. Look, one of you, she barked, grabbing the boy's wrist. Get over here. He needs help. His heart pounded. But I don't know what to do, just follow my instructions. She snapped, panic igniting urgency. To his horror, he found himself kneeling beside the old man, who lay on the ground, lifeless. The stench of fear and reality mingled with the scent of polished wood and expensive cologne. The girl knelt next to him, her eyes wide, heart racing. Apply pressure here. the woman ordered, pointing to a wound glistening red against the man's crisp white shirt. The boy hesitated, mind swirling as the faint pulse of the gala grew distant. He squeezed the fabric, not sure if he was saving a life or sealing their doom. The girl's fierce gaze met his, a silent understanding passing between them. "We can't back down now," she urged softly, as another scream pierced the air. Suddenly, the distant echo of sirens grew louder, drowning out the chaos and masking their urgency. The world outside might have been waning, but right here, right now, hidden truths spilled into a glaring light. With each moment, the burden of choice became more consuming. They could run away, live in fear, or confront whatever darkness lay below the surface of both their worlds. With the weight of the man's life against his hands, the boy knew one thing: this moment would forever entwine their fates. As the sirens blared closer, the shadows shifted. Whatever secrets lay ahead had to be confronted, and now they were standing on a razor's edge. Could they unravel the twisted threads of their fate before it pulled them under? The room pulsed with tension, the air thickening around them. The boy felt the trembling of his hands as he pressed into the blood-soaked fabric, a dark reminder of the fragile line between life and death. He could hear the distant wails of sirens, but they felt muted, a world away from the cold reality before him. "Keep pressure," the woman demanded sharply, her voice cutting through the haze of fear. "Someone, find the defibrillator. Now." The girl stayed close, her wide eyes darting between the body and the frantic scene unfolding. "What is happening?" she whispered, almost to herself, but the boy could see the fear he felt mirrored in her expression. "Just, don't move, okay?" he murmured back, trying to project calm. They were both just kids, trapped in a nightmare that was spiraling further out of control. He glanced at the old man's face. It was twisted in a grimace, one that seemed to search for answers in the air around him. Who was this man? Why was he lying on the floor, clutching at his own blood? The questions buzzed in his brain like a swarm of angry bees, stinging with every incomplete thought. Suddenly, the door swung open with a crash, and a group of 3 paramedics rushed in, the heavy thump of their boots resonating through the room. "Clear the way," one barked, pushing past the stunned crowd. "We'll take over." The urgency electrified the air, and the boy reluctantly relinquished his hold, his fingers released from the fabric that now felt like an anchor pulling him into despair. As the paramedics worked, he and the girl stepped back, watching helplessly while they battled for a life that seemed so fleeting. I can't believe this is happening," the girl stammered, her voice trembling with the weight of reality crashing in. "We should have never come in here." "No," he replied fiercely, locking eyes with her. "We're here now. We have to figure this out." He felt the mantle of responsibility settle like a heavy cloak on his shoulders. They were connected to this chaos now. It wasn't just curiosity, it was something deeper. The woman who had demanded his help stood nearby, watching the scene unfold. Her eyes were sharp, calculating, as if she was piecing together the puzzle of the moment. "You two," she called out, stepping toward them. "What do you know about the old man?" "Nothing," the boy stammered, his mind racing. "We just got here. We didn't see anything." "Then you need to stay close," she ordered. "I need to know where you were before this happened. Every detail counts." The boy felt his stomach clench. "Why does it matter?" "Because someone is going to want answers," she replied, her tone steely. "And it might get dangerous." The boy's heart raced as he exchanged a glance with the girl. Their presence had just been a coincidence, but now they were inextricably linked to the chaos, a thread woven into a tapestry of secrets and lies. "We have to go," she whispered. "Before we get pulled into something we can't control." But even as she said it, something inside him rebelled against that urge. The darkness swirling around them beckoned, promising revelation if they were brave enough to step into the unknown. "Not yet," he insisted, his resolve hardening. "There is something here we need to understand." Outside, the sirens pierced the night, sharp as a knife, the chaos spilling into the street like an uncontained fire. Shadows darted back and forth, agents of fear and truth colliding in a fierce game of survival. As the paramedics worked, the boy felt the weight of the moment press down on him. An intense feeling of connection surged within him. Something bigger was at stake, and they were just at the cusp of unraveling it. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, followed by a commotion. The girl grabbed his arm, fear darkening her eyes. What was that? We need to leave, now. But he couldn't tease. Something extraordinary was about to happen, and he sensed a path forward, dark and twisted as it was. What if that sound? What if it's not over yet? Little did they know, their decision to stay was about to put them at the heart of a deeper mystery. As they stood there, marked by the night, the real struggle for their fates was just beginning. What would they uncover, and how would it change their lives forever? Noise erupted outside, throaty shouts mingling with the clash of metal on metal. The boy's heart raced as he felt the air grow colder, thick with panic. The paramedics continued their urgent work, but the crackle of chaos outside loomed larger. What if it's not safe? The girl whispered, her grip tightening around his arm. His chest tightened with conflicting emotions. He wanted to run, to escape the chaos that promised destruction. But a part of him, a wild, burning part, craved answers buried beneath the weight of blood and shadow. Listen, he started, but was interrupted by a sudden loud crash as a figure barreled through the door, just as the paramedics shouted for a clear space. All heads turned. It was a tall man, disheveled and wild-eyed, his shirt torn and smeared with dirt. His face was a mask of fear and desperation. "Get away from him!" he shouted, launching into the room. "Stop right there!" the woman ordered, her voice pealing through the air like a whip. The man froze, wide eyes darting between the swirling scene and the paramedics. "They're trying to kill him. You have to help us." "What do you mean?" the boy blurted, unable to contain his curiosity. "Please, just trust me." The man was panting, each breath heavy with urgency. "If they find us, if they find him, everything will change." Skepticism flickered in the boy's mind. This was insane. But then he saw the way the girl's eyes widened, reflecting the same mix of fear and intrigue. "Who are you?" she asked, stepping forward, her voice shaking, but resolute. The man swallowed hard. "A protector. That man on the floor, he knows something, something they're willing to die for." A chill rippled through the boy. Suddenly, the old man, sprawled and unmoving, felt less like a victim and more like the key to an unfolding nightmare. Someone wanted him dead. They had to act fast before that reality crept closer. "Gather around, everyone." The woman's voice cut through the commotion, solid and commanding. "Listen, we may have a situation developing. Everyone needs to stay put, or we could all be in danger." The boy felt a surge of adrenaline. What could they do? Panic hummed through the crowd, the tension thickening as they hovered, unsure. Suddenly, the moment accelerated. A second crash echoed from outside, the glass of nearby windows shuddered under the pressure of incoming footsteps. Rough, urgent voices shouted commands, cutting through the growing night. His instincts screamed at him to escape, but fate had woven a tighter knot with the appearance of the man. He couldn't walk away now, not when the stakes were so high, not when the mystery seemed so entangled with their own lives. "Hide!" the man yelled suddenly, sensing their uncertainty. "We need to find a place before they come in." Before the boy could respond, the girl tugged at his arm, leading them toward a darkened corridor. Shadows loomed ominously, their intricate form hinting at long-forgotten whispers and secrets. "What are we doing?" he hissed, doubt creeping in. "Trust me," she insisted, her grip tightening. As they slipped away, barely escaping the reaches of chaos, doubt mingled with a sense of danger that thrummed below the surface. They hid behind a door that led to an old storage room, the scent of dust and decay enveloping them. The boy's mind raced. What did that man mean? Who wanted the old man dead? He glanced at the girl, who watched him with wide, terrified eyes. "This isn't over," he said softly, though the darkness settled deeper in his gut, constricting like chains. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed at the entrance, making the walls tremble. Shouted orders filtered through the door like poisoned air, looming danger creeping closer. Every second felt like a ticking clock, the urgency grinding against his resolve. Then, a single word shattered the tense silence, slicing through their guarded thoughts. Search. What lay ahead was not just a question of survival, but a quest into the heart of the darkness now swallowing them whole. Would they uncover the truth about the old man, or would they be consumed before they could even Start? The door creaked under their weight as they pressed against it, the stale air thick with dread. Every footstep echoed outside, heavy boots stomping closer, crackling tension palpable in the space of the barely lit storage room. The boy's heart thundered in his ears, drowning out the muffled voices that barely made it through the thin barrier. "Do you think they'll come in here?" he whispered, his throat dry and tight. "I don't know," the girl replied, her eyes wide with fear, scanning the dimly lit room like a deer caught in headlights. "But we can't make a noise." He nodded, trying to breathe quietly, but the stench of dust made each inhale scratch his throat. They squeezed together, the age-old wood biting into their backs as they fought to stay hidden. What danger lurked just beyond the door? The chill of uncertainty coiled around them, his mind raced, catching fragments of the man's words. Someone was after the old man on the floor. What kind of secrets could he possibly have? He muttered, half to himself. The girl held a finger against her lips, eyes darting to the sliver of light beneath the door. "We need to figure out what's happening," she said, resolute, her voice a mere whisper. There was a fire in her spirit, fear, yes, but also determination. Suddenly, heavy footsteps stopped just outside. Their breath hitched, and they exchanged panicked glances. The boy's fingers twitched, inching toward the door handle, but he held back. A voice broke through, deep and gruff. "Check every corner of this place. I want that old man found." The boy felt his heart seize. Who was that man outside? Why did it feel like shadows danced in their future? Fear blended with a strange sense of responsibility, and alarm bells ringing in his chest. He had to protect the girl, they had to protect the truth. The girl's grip tightened on his arm. Could she feel the surge of adrenaline coursing through him? Their eyes locked, speaking a language of uncertainty and resolve. "Help is coming," she said, more to convince herself than him. "They can't find us." "But what if we're too late?" He shot back, urgent. "Focus," she replied sharply, the fierceness cutting through the haze of fear. "We need to find a way to get out, to warn the others." As if on cue, the door shuddered, metal scraping against the frame. The boy's heart pounded louder, a war drum of impending doom. Voices grew closer, the men outside searching more aggressively now, their frustration seeping through the air. "He can't hide forever." The girl pressed herself against him more tightly. "We have to do something." His mind raced. What if they could slip out the back, find the old man before it was too late? The boy didn't even understand fully why he felt the weight of this responsibility, but somehow it didn't matter. They could be the ones to change everything. "I'll distract them," he said suddenly, words tumbling out in a rush. "You look for another way out." "What?" "No. You can't." "I can," he insisted, the wild mix of fear and bravery electrifying his muscles. "You're our best shot. Just go." Before she could protest further, he pushed the door ever so slightly, peering out into the chaos. What they saw convinced him they had to act. The man from earlier was huddled with the paramedics, frantically pointing toward the entrance. In that moment, clarity washed over him. He needed to create a commotion. He slipped out into the hallway, then called out, "Hey! Over here!" The girl's terrified gasp echoed in his mind, but he knew this was the moment. The men spun around, startled. Panic enveloped him as he raced down the hall, the distant shouts turning into chaos, his heart pounding like a war drum. "Get him!" one of the men shouted, pounding after him. As he ran, the reality of the situation crashed down. Did he just put himself in even greater danger? Would this bold move save them or seal their fates? The boy stumbled into a darkened corner, breathless and frantic. He could hear their footsteps thumping nearer, reinforcement of his desperation. Suddenly, the corridor twisted in a new direction, and he spotted an exit. But before he could turn, he caught sight of another figure emerging. An unfamiliar shadow prowled closer, eyes glinting with a hunger for truth or something darker. "Stop!" it commanded, and fear clawed at the edges of his resolve. With nowhere to run, dread encased him like a vice. What awaited him behind that door? Would he unravel the truth, or would he plunge deeper into the nightmarish chaos surrounding them? The figure stepped into the flickering light, revealing a face the boy recognized: a woman, older and hardened by something far more treacherous than he could imagine. Her dark eyes searched him, narrowing the gap between fear and an unsettling familiarity. "You shouldn't be here," she warned, her voice low and tight. It was a statement, not a question. "Neither should you." He shot back, grounding himself as the adrenaline surged through him. This was no ordinary encounter. She was part of the world they were now entangled in, a player in the game that was peeling away the layers of his once simple life. "Listen," she hissed, stepping closer, forcing urgency into their exchange. "If you're tangled with the old man, you're in deep trouble. They're not just after him, they'll erase anyone who knows what he hides." Questions tumbled in his mind. What could possibly warrant such danger? What secrets? "We need to move," she insisted. "This isn't a game. Those men will come for you." Behind them, the pounding footsteps drew nearer, a harsh reminder of their reality. The boy felt a tense coil of panic. There was nowhere safe. He looked around for the girl, his heart hammering against his ribs, hoping she had found another escape. "But I can't leave her." A glint of understanding flickered across the woman's face. "She's strong. You have to trust her. If they find you both together, it'll be over." The tension was electric, and his resolve faltered. Could he abandon her? The weight of the choice pressed down like an anchor. But just as doubt crept in, a fierce determination ignited within him. "I want tea. She means everything to me." The words felt like a vow, echoing with unshakable conviction. "Then you both have to be smart." Her voice clipped. She gestured toward the shadows that lined the back of the corridor. "This way. We can create a distraction." With a nod of barely contained fear, he followed her, their footsteps almost silent against the gritty floor. They slipped into a narrow passage, swallowing the sound, and hope flickered again, dim but persistent. But the moment they reached the other side, chaos erupted. Down the hall, a crash rang out, glass shattering, accompanied by frantic shouting. They both froze, and the woman's jaw tightened. That wasn't supposed to happen. "What was that?" he whispered, dread creeping back into his veins. "Probably someone else to keep them busy. We don't have much time." She moved swiftly, her street-smart instincts shining through as she scanned for potential exits. The boy followed, the weight of their predicament sizing up like an ominous storm cloud overhead. With every corner they turned, their breaths grew sharper, shorter, burdened with the realization of their vulnerability. Then, a shout broke through, piercing the echoing silence. "Find them! They must be close." The boy's heart lurched. Who were these people? Why were they so hell-bent on uncovering the truth that felt so elusive? Stumbling into a small doorway that led to another dark room, he caught sight of the girl. Relief flooded him. She was still safe, but now her face mirrored the same urgency and fear he felt. "Get back!" he commanded, pulling her into the shadow beside him. "We're leaving together." But just as hope ignited, the harsh lights flicked on, illuminating the room with blinding brightness. The men were closing in, and beyond the darkness loomed the truth they risked everything to uncover. As the shadows shifted, engulfed by uncertainty, the boy took a deep breath. "We can't let them take us alive." The next heartbeat felt monumental, a pivotal choice hanging in the balance. Should they fight the shadows lurking in the unknown, or flee deeper into the recesses of the chaos threatening to engulf them all? In that moment, destiny took hold. Would they face the looming darkness or spin away into the shadows of the night? The boy's heart raced. The bright lights felt like searchlights piercing through fog, laying bare their desperate situation. Behind him, the girl's breath was quick and shallow, and he could feel her tension solidifying into an unbreakable resolve. "Go! Find a way out," he urged, knowing they had mere seconds before the men could close in on them. "Not without you," she replied, her voice a fierce whisper. Just then, the door burst open, crashing against the wall with a banshee howl. 3 men stormed in, their eyes scanning for movement, muscular frames taut with predatory instinct. The boy felt the icy grip of fear yank at his chest, but he pressed his back against the cold wall, summoning every ounce of courage. The woman beside him stepped forward, an audacious fire igniting in her dark eyes. "Over here!" she shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos like a knife. The men turned, startled, and she seized the moment to dart further down the corridor. "Now!" he shouted to the girl. They dashed toward the door, hearts pounding in sync. As they ran, chaos erupted behind them, yelling, crashing sounds, fury unleashed. When they burst through the door into the hallway, it was a medley of chaos and terror. Flickering fluorescent lights cast erratic shadows, and the air buzzed with tension. They sprinted forward, ignoring the strange shouts of men chasing them. "Keep going," the boy urged, glancing back to see the faint silhouettes of their pursuers gaining ground. He could feel the pull of despair, urging him to slow down, but the adrenaline stamped it out. They barreled through door after door, navigating a labyrinth of hallways, desperately seeking an escape. Suddenly, he skidded to a stop in front of a steel door marked exit. "This way," he called out, his voice barely audible over the chaos. The girl was at his side in an instant, her eyes wide with fear and hope. They burst through into the night, the cool air hitting them like a shockwave. But their freedom was short-lived. The sound of frantic footsteps echoed behind them, relentless and predatory. "Where do we go?" the girl gasped, scanning their dark surroundings. They stood confined under the shadows of a derelict building, the moonlight a mere whisper above them. "Anywhere but here," he replied, urgency sharpening every word. He pulled her toward a narrow alley, the chance of safety pressing down upon them. They stumbled into the alley, hearts racing, and paused to catch their breath. The boy leaned against the damp wall, his chest heaving, eyes flicking back toward the street. "We can't stay out here," he murmured. "Then what? Where do we go?" The girl's gaze was filled with uncertainty, reflected in the fear gripping his own heart. There was a sound that pierced the air, a distinct scuffle, a threat hidden behind a casual conversation. It was too close for comfort, a reminder of the danger lurking beneath every corner. The sound of footsteps reverberated in the silence, each echo tightening the coil of unease in his stomach. Just then, from around the corner, a figure emerged. It was the woman. Her eyes locked onto theirs, urgency radiating from her. "This way," she beckoned, waving them over with frantic gestures. Feeling a flicker of hope, the boy took the girl's hand, his grip firm. But as they rushed toward the woman, a chilling realization washed over him. "Wait, who are you? How do we know we can trust you?" The question hung in the air like a thick fog. The answer felt like a loaded gun, ready to go off. "Because there is no one else," she said, her voice grave as she scanned the night, searching for signs of their pursuers. Will they trust a stranger in a world that had already shaken their reality to its core? Or will the growing shadows swallow them whole? The woman turned, her breath misting in the cool air as she quickly led them deeper into the alley. "Hurry! They're right behind us!" Every footfall pounded against the pavement like a heartbeat, a race against time and fate. The boy felt the girl's hand trembling in his grip, fear radiating off her. He cast a glance back, nerves electrified. Shadows bounced along the walls as silhouettes crept closer. "Where are we going?" the girl gasped, struggling to keep pace. "To safety." "I know a place," the woman replied, urgency ringing in her voice. They skidded around a corner, weaving through narrow passageways, the dark lanes closing in like a trap. Trash cans and debris littered the ground, their path a twisted tapestry of neglect. With each turn, the boy's heart pounded louder, drowning out the sounds of the men that chased them. "Keep moving," he shouted as they pressed onward, adrenaline finally pushing the fear down into a hard knot in his stomach. Suddenly, the woman halted. "Here!" She darted to a door barely visible behind a rusting pipe. The boy and the girl rushed to her, and before he could comprehend the risk, she flung open the door and pulled them inside. The room was an empty storage space, the air thick with dust and musty scents. The dim light filtering in from a cracked window cast half-hearted shadows across the walls. "Stay quiet," the woman hushed, placing a finger to her lips. They nodded, kneeling against the cold concrete floor, the world outside feeling like a distant nightmare. The boy's heart raced while his mind worked in overdrive. Who was this woman? Why was she helping? The questions slipped through the haze of danger, searching for answers amidst the chaos. He stole a glance at the girl beside him. Her wide eyes mirrored his own confusion. Moments dragged, the silence heavy, until the sound of distant footsteps reminded them of their reality. Close, then fading, then close again. "Do you hear that?" the girl whispered, her voice trembling. The woman nodded. "They might be searching the area. Just hold tight." The boy's fingers brushed the surface of the floor, grimy and cold. His thoughts spiraled, his heart banging against his ribcage. What if they got caught? What if this was a trap? Everything about their escape felt woven with uncertainty. Time ebbed and flowed. Seconds felt like hours. The muffled sounds outside lingered long enough to crush their hope before retreating once more. "Look," the boy said suddenly, his voice barely above a whisper. "There's a window." He pointed to the far side of the room, where a dusty pane offered a glimpse of moonlight. The woman squinted, pulse racing, the weight of decisions heavy in the air. "Up we go, quickly. We might be able to climb out," she insisted, urgency rushing through her veins. They scrambled, muscles tense as adrenaline surged. The boy carefully boosted the girl, his hands steadying her as she climbed. Panic and bravery coiled in the space where hope flickered majorly. The woman followed, her gaze on the door, alert for the slightest hint of danger. With every sound, the shadows outside loomed larger. The girl poked her head through the window, eyes wide with awe at the night sky, but the boy's heart fell. He could almost taste the freedom. They were so close. "Now you," she urged, looking down at him. He nodded, feeling the weight of their escape resting on him. But as he reached for the ledge, dread washed over him. Would the world outside be a haven or a new kind of prison? What if there's trouble waiting? He barely muttered, feeling his pulse quicken. "It's better than being caught," the woman said firmly. "We have to take the chance, or we won't survive." With a final glance back, the boy leaned into the darkness, ready to leap into the uncertain freedom of the night. The moment of choice hung, heart-wrenching and electrifying. What awaited them outside that window? Will they find the answers they are looking for, or will they fall into an even deeper trap? As the boy heaved his body through the window, the cool night air rushed around him, a chorus of freedom and tension swirling together. He landed awkwardly, heart pounding, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he glanced back up at the girl and the woman. "Come on," he urged, barely containing the excitement that threatened to burst forth. With swift movements, the girl slid through the window, her fear momentarily eclipsed by their shared tenacity. They shared a lingering gaze before the woman clambered out, urgency radiating from her. "This way," she whispered, pulling them into the shadows of an alley. They moved through the darkness like phantoms, slipping between the tall buildings that lined the streets, breathing in the stagnant air thick with uncertainty. The boy turned to the woman, questions bubbling to the surface. What was all that? Who were those men? The woman didn't slow. "Smart men make enemies. That old man holds secrets that some will kill for." You both stumbled into something far beyond your understanding. The boy's stomach nodded. "But why are you helping us?" "Because you have grit," she answered, eyes scanning the path ahead. "And luck is about to run out. We need to get to a safe place." The girl grasped the boy's arm tighter as they navigated the darkened streets. "What do we do when we find safety?" she asked, her voice quaking slightly. "Then we regroup," the woman replied. "We uncover what we can about the old man. There is more to this than just him being hurt. He has ties that weave across both your worlds." The boy's mind raced. A billionaire's daughter entangled with the dark secrets of an elite world and a boy from the fringes of society. Could they really change their fates? Sweat lined his brow as they turned a corner into a quieter street. The brief respite was nearly tangible. Just as they thought they could catch their breath, the heavy footsteps echoed in the distance, a cold reminder that their pursuers weren't far behind. "Hide!" the woman hissed, leading them behind a large dumpster. The boy's heart raced as they crouched together, waiting for the danger to pass. As they listened, the footsteps neared, and the boy's hands shook slightly. What if they find us? What if this doesn't work? "You need to have faith," the woman said, fierce determination in her tone. "Trust each other. You're stronger together. Finally, the footsteps faded, replaced by the rush of adrenaline that surged to the forefront of their minds. Emerging from their hiding place, they spotted an old warehouse in the distance. "We can make it there," the woman said, eyes glinting in the dim light. They ran again, feet pounding against pavement that felt both freeing and burdensome. Upon reaching the door, the woman pushed it open, revealing an aura of stillness, the air heavy with dust and neglected memories. Inside, the boy felt a strange sense of calm amidst the chaos. They found a dimly lit room filled with disheveled crates, and the woman began rummaging through them, eyebrows knitted in concentration. "Help me look for something that can give us answers," she said. "Like what?" the boy asked, cautiously rummaging as well. "Anything. Documents, phones, anything tied to the old man's past," she replied tightly. The girl opened a crate of old newspapers, the musty smell filling her nostrils. "Wait. Look at this," she called, pulling out a folded letter, yellowed with age. "What does it say?" the boy asked, rushing over, curiosity burning in his chest. The girl unfolded the letter, her eyes scanning it intensely. "It's a note about a deal involving the old man, and something that sounds like suddenly." Echoes of frantic shouting erupted outside, breaking the precarious moment. The boy's heart plummeted. "They're here. We need to move." The woman grabbed their arms, urgency threading through her words. "We can't risk being caught. We'll figure this out when we're safe." They scrambled further into the warehouse, hearts pounding in unison, sweat lining their brows. The sound of footsteps grew louder, murmurs mixing with the sharpness of worry. "Where do we go?" the boy panted, desperation clawing at him. "Back down the ramp. We'll find another exit," the woman urged, leading the way. As they slipped out the back, racing toward the escape that awaited them, an exhilarating mix of dread and courage propelled them forward. Freedom was waiting, but what awaited them just beyond those walls? With their breathless momentum, they raced into a night charged with possibility. The darkness might have cloaked their world, but they were determined to rewrite their stories, hand in hand, willing to embrace whatever secrets lay ahead. A low thunder rolled overhead, echoing hope and fear alike. The girl, squeezing the boy's hand, shared a look of determination. Whatever lies they would unravel or face in the daunting shadows, they knew they would face it together, and so, as they vanished into the night, the chase and the truth beckoned them, unraveling lives and destinies in the space of a breath, together. Now, it's your turn to make a move. Subscribe immediately to our channel and become part of this epic journey. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss out on the next exclusive story that awaits. And smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep this community alive. Your support makes all the difference. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this mind-blowing conclusion. I want to hear what you think. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this wild adventure. The heartbeat of our channel lies in your support. It's time to come together.